Hello and welcome back, and today I'm going to be talking to you about sort of foods and harvest that everyone is missing out on, because there's some things or some parts of different plants that you can eat but most people don't really know it because it's not commonly sort of done or eaten. So today I'm going to talk to you about unusual things and unusual parts of plants people don't usually eat but you can, so that you can maximise your harvest from your small garden. Before I get started with the video, I'd just like to make sure that you've gone down below, hit the subscribe button, as well as this little bell icon to make sure you're notified next time I upload a video. So if, like me, you have a small garden, just like my vegetable patch here, you want to make the most out of every single square inch that you have. And that's why I like to try and eat parts of plants that you might not normally find in supermarkets, and just try and get plants that can give me dual uses or multi-uses. So that's why I'm going to talk about why you should, and what parts of plants that you can eat that aren't commonly done, as I said. So I'm going to start off with radish. And radish, which I've got under the netting down there, radish, you can eat just about every part of the radish. And most people don't really know this, because most people would just eat the little root part, the red sort of root. And what you don't know, what most people don't know, is you can actually eat the leaves and the seed pods as well. So most parts of the plant are edible, and they all taste very similar apparently. And the seed pods, when they're green and you eat them, apparently they have a milder taste. I don't actually eat them because I don't like radish anyway, but we just pick them as roots. But most people do that as well. And what you can do is you can get 3 harvests from it, as I just said. You can get the seed pods, you can get the leaves, and you can get the root, which is a really good way to make the most out of your space, because radish, they don't really take up much space, and you can interplant them really well with bigger plants, such as like I've got them interplanted with kale. And another plant that I bet you never knew you could actually eat is hosta, or young hosta leaves, and the shoots can actually be cut and used as an asparagus alternative. And you can also eat the young leaves or the smaller leaves in salads, or as a bit like spinach apparently. And I haven't tried this again. A lot of these I haven't actually tried yet, but there's things that I've heard other people doing, and I think I might give a go in the future. And I don't grow hosta in this bed, but I've got them in other flower beds, and a lot of mine get eaten by slugs. But I've got a miniature one which I got recently, which is a really nice one, which I've got in a pot. So I'd like to try eating one maybe one day. And it's just crazy because there's so many things that you normally separate between flowers and vegetables, but really you could eat both of them. And another one in the flower border is dahlias, and the tubers and the flowers are both edible. And the tubers, some people actually grow them like we grow, like most people grow potatoes. Some people grow dahlias for their tubers. They're edible, and there's actually normally quite a lot of them. And this root ball on this one, it was huge when I put it in. So I'm looking forward to see what it's like in autumn when I pull it out after the first frost. And the flowers must be tasty because the slugs are really enjoying them. And that's quite annoying actually, with the slugs enjoying them. And my other one's even worse. The slugs just eat all the tips of the petals, and it looks awful. But there's not much I can do about that. But they are meant to be edible, and that's another thing that people could try if you want to try and get more harvest and not miss out on these great things that you could be eating that most people just use in different ways or even throw away. And the next one is carrot tops, and I only found this one out a few weeks ago, or even a few days ago, I can't remember when it was. And these green tops here, they can be eaten and turned into a pesto. So you can turn them into a pesto that apparently tastes very similar to carrot, which is actually something I might really try in the next few weeks when I start picking my carrots. And they're just carrots. I love carrots. They're probably one of my favourite vegetables. And if I can make a pesto that tastes like carrot, that's great, and I might even try that. But the only trouble is, I'm not going to pick the carrot tops or leaves until I've harvested them, because otherwise it'll attract the carrot root fly, because they've got a very good sense of smell. And if they can smell the carrot tops, then they'll come and they'll start laying their eggs into my carrots, which I don't really want. Another thing that you probably never knew that you could actually eat in your garden is, well, not just kale, but kale flower tops. And this is my kale tree, which is over a year old, probably more like a year and a couple of months. And I'm not sure, I think this might, oh, it's not going to flower yet, it's just getting very, very tall and big. But the kale, the rest of the kale, the other batch of kale I planted when I planted this, has already, a few months ago, went to seed. And these flower heads, before they, you can even eat the flowers when they open out, but I prefer them before they open out, a bit like broccoli. And it's a bit like the tender stem broccoli you can buy in the supermarket. And I actually prefer kale flowers to broccoli because I find they had more flavour, and they're also meant to be better for you as well. They're meant to have a lot more nutrients in them. And just like with most shop-bought things as well, they will be better than shop-bought broccoli or shop-bought tender stem broccoli. And it's so good because you can just harvest the leaves, and as soon as it starts going to flower, rather than getting rid of the plant, and most of the time, by the time they go to flower, it'll be February to April time, you won't actually have other things growing or need to be growing in that bed at the time. So you can just leave it to go to flower, and then you can eat the flower heads, and then leave it, go to seed, then you collect the seeds, and then you've got next year's or that coming year's seeds ready to go. And another one, well, I'm not actually stood by this plant because I don't have any growing, but the next one is garlic scapes or garlic flowers, or flower heads, and that's when you see them start to curl over at the top of the flower head, and you can cut this off, and it stops your plant, well, it puts all the energy back into making a bulb rather than making flowers and seeds. And you can then use this scape. You can eat it like a green bean, or you can have it in stir fries as well. And I know a YouTube channel called Back to Reality, and he uses this, or they use this a lot, because they had a lot of garlic and it was all going to flower, so I know that they were eating a lot of their garlic scapes in stir fries and things like that. And supposedly they taste like garlic, and I quite like garlicky things. So this is something, when I grow garlic for the first time this year, I'm going to give a go, because a lot of the time things do go to seed. And I've also got a feeling that the onion flower heads might be edible as well, but I'm not too sure on that, so make sure you research before you go eating. But I know I had an onion flower head, and it looked exactly like a garlic scape, and that's because they're the same family, but I thought maybe it would be edible, but I didn't risk it because I didn't look into it. So if you want to, look into it, and onion scapes, and maybe leeks as well, their flower heads might be edible. And also, now, you can eat forget-me-not flowers, and you can have these in salads, and I think you can put them in drinks as well, but I'm not sure. And I've got a lot of forget-me-nots because they self-seed everywhere. So I've got 2 here, and I think I've got 2 or 3 in the other bed. And I've also got 55 seedlings all in the trays up there, because I got carried away pricking all the self-seeded ones out into trays. And I love forget-me-nots as just like a flower, but I've never actually tried them. They're very easy to grow. So if you want to grow forget-me-nots to eat or just for a display, they're very easy to grow. And if you buy one plant, what you could do is wait a couple of years, and they'll self-seed everywhere. You pot on these plants, put them exactly where you want them, and then you've got loads of forget-me-nots everywhere. Because, as I said just then, I've got 55 seedlings, and I've got no clue what I'm going to do with them all. So I'd probably have to sell them or something like that. And I don't really think I have enough space for 55 forget-me-not plants. And with all them then, they'll all self-seed, and I'll get more and more, which means I'll have an endless supply of them. And that's the same with lupins. I get carried away lupins, and I was looking into it the other day, just out of interest really, not even for this video. And I think that lupins, some people say that lupins are edible and their seed pods are, but make sure you look into it again. But I was just briefly looked into it, googled it, and apparently they are, which is actually really interesting. And it doesn't surprise me really, because lupins are a legume, and they're part of the family with peas and stuff. And you'll notice that their seed pods are actually just like pea pods. They're just furry pea pods, which means if you do want to eat them, or if you look into it and they are edible, they probably are just like peas. But don't take my word for it, make sure you do look into it first. And somewhere behind me, I think just there behind me, I've got some dandelions, and these are the last thing I'm going to be talking about that you never knew you could eat. And dandelions, this is more commonly known to it that you can eat, but you can eat every single part of a dandelion. You can eat the flower, the leaves, and the root as well. And the root apparently you can just prepare just like a carrot. And this is something I would like to try, but a lot of people in my house don't really want to. And remember, before you go eating all of these things, research into it before, just like I researched for this video. because a lot of the time some things need to be cooked a certain way for them to be edible, or so that you don't get ill, because if you're doing all this at your own risk basically. So don't go blaming me if you get food poisoning, but from my research these are edible, but some of them may need to be prepared in certain ways, so bear this in mind before you go eating things. Make sure you do actually look into things first before you just go straight into eating them. So I hope you found something out from this video that you didn't know before. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and if you found a lot out from this video, please share it with your friends. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time. So I know the video's over, but I just thought I'd like to show you this new plant that I got the other day, because I've been to the garden centre for the first time since February after the UK lockdown. So I went on Thursday and I got this. This is a new fuchsia, and it's double petalled on the bottom, and it's really, really pretty. And I also got this new pot to put it in, and I quite like it really. The petals are just so cool to look at because they're doubles. It's really nice.